Welcome to Wonka Watch. If the chocolate river was the river Styx, think of us as the candied Charons guiding you to the fields of Wonka, or if you were a good boy, to Strawberry Elysium. I'm your host, Felicia.
Regrettably, I'm your co-host, Elaine. And, you're probably thinking, a podcast about Willy Wonka, how could you possibly have things to say? What? Why? Who? But you know what? Here we are. There's a lot to talk about.
We have over 60 episode topics just waiting in the
and yes, you should be shocked. I came back after the first 2 episodes, and I'm here. So yeah, I'm Elaine, and I'm
both here.
We're still
I went
both
to my
here.
psychiatrist appointment, and we're still here.
Yeah. Well, how was it? Was it good?
Can't be fixed.
You feel good? The burdens of our mental health will stick with us for always.
I do feel good. I am having a good day.
Good.
So today we are tackling probably the biggest piece of Wonka canon, the 1971 original movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, starring one Mr. Gene Wilder.
Yes.
Which I had not previously seen, which is a little insane for starting a Willy Wonka podcast, but hey, that adds to the flavor.
Yeah. No, so I have seen it many times as a youth, never as an adult, so getting to rewatch it was interesting.
But before we get deep into the 1971 Wonka discourse, we gotta do our weekly Wonka Watch.
No.
I'm trying to come up with a little intro jingle and nothing's working so far.
If you've got candy on your mind and you're wondering, hey, what's up there? Fine, let's tell you all about it. The dispatch of the Wonka Watch.
That's good.
It's Wonka Watch. Wonka Watch time. Wonka.
That's basically what I did that you made fun of me for.
It was just better when I did.
Okay, so this week we have some genuinely major discoveries. Like, I am talking
the Wonka
I
prequel.
kind of lost my shit when I saw this. To the point where I said we're only gonna talk about the first half of the Willy Wonka movie because we're going to be spending quite a bit of time on these photos because they are intense. But first, we have some Timothee Chalamet related news. I felt like I needed to report on this because Timothee Chalamet as a young man was a fascinating figure, much of which exists online through various YouTube channels and things like that. And Timothee Chalamet, if you're listening, maybe skip ahead like 10 minutes. I don't want to dredge up your past for you. And I wasn't even going to report on this, but it's kind of too tempting.
Timothy, we're gonna have timestamps in the description, so feel free to help her out and everybody.
Published by Vice is an article called "Is This Timothee Chalamet's Xbox Modding YouTube Channel?" And this was a mass investigation by the publication. They basically, this has been a rumor that's been going around since around 2018 when a Chalamet Instagram fan page called Chalamet Universe said they were looking at Timothee Chalamet's old YouTube channel and saw that it had liked a few videos in which a kid with a raspy voice is showing off Xbox 360 controllers as modded with different color schemes. There are 3 videos in total. And Vice basically was like, we are going to prove that this is Timothee Chalamet because the vibes are very similar, but they were like, we need to know for sure. So they got in a guy who investigates war crimes onto this.
What?
To try and figure this out, okay? And they did a crazy investigation. They tried to reach out to organizations to do forensic voice investigation, which didn't pan out.
What is their budget?
I don't know.
But
they analyzed photos of Timothee Chalamet's childhood bedroom that he'd previously posted that contained the same chair as the video. And they were zooming in screenshots. They're like, if you see the parabola of the tile matches it in this. It was insane. I was like, this made me and my Wonka thing feel normal.
That made me realize that there's a dream career I didn't even know I wanted to have. And it's investigating Timothee Chalamet's child and his entire life in such a getting a whole team a ridiculous no one needs this, no one cares, this doesn't change world politics or
Elaine, what do you think we're doing right now?
I think we're You know, I was having a really good day, Felicia. I felt really good in myself. You know, I was like, I'm coming to the podcast. I feel positive. I'm actually going to be happy about having a third podcast. And you just freaking hit me in the Wonka bar, you know?
What do you mean? What does that mean?
You know, I'm trying out a few new things. So did they basically confirm that this was his YouTube channel?
There was a scar on his left ring finger that matched up, and then in a recent interview, he confirmed it was him. Yeah, no, it's insane.
This is like the same level that people did with Frau Unbekannt with the Anastasia impersonator. Like, this is like, oh, sorry, was that some random Romanov history I just casually threw in there? My bad. I'm so sorry.
He starts it off with saying, "What's good, YouTube?"
Wait, can you do it in your Timothy impersonation?
Can you do it? It won't feel real until you do it.
Okay. What's good?
I can't do it.
What's good, YouTube? This is Modded Controller 360. I don't think I can do it while reading this. It's too much. I'm focusing so hard on getting the words out my mouth. I can't also do an impression at the same time. This is Modded Controller 360 with the Controller of the Week. The YouTuber said in his first video. Here's a red tiger. Started it yesterday, finished it today. It looks nice. It looks sexy.
How old was he when he was doing this?
15.
Hey, anyone can make it big. I think this is actually a really beautiful, like, inspirational thing. It's like, it started here. Now
I did lose my mind. He made $30 selling them to his friends, and at the end of the video he goes, and again, I have you down for $10 plus shipping. It made me scream. Okay, like, go to the Wonka Watch tab on our episode and just watch this video because it's like a minute, and I can edit this out. I just need you to experience
full
this.
screening it.
What's good, YouTube? This is Controller 360 with the Controller of the
Little
Week.
baby Chalamet.
Here's Red Tiger.
Little baby Chalamet.
Started it today, yesterday, finished it
Yeah,
today.
there you go, your Argyle sweater, Chalamet.
Front. Here's the back.
So, show me the back of that controller, little Chalamet, eh?
So get behind, 72. This is pretty much what it was.
Wow, that looks real great,
Chalamet. I
Chalamet.
have you for $10 plus shipping and handling and a new controller.
The shipping
This one
internationally, little
specifically is going
Chalamet.
to Stud Muffins. This is a giver tag, like I give out the full game.
Oh, don't give out that full game attack. Keep it to yourself, Chalamet.
15 for him.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh, my. Ooh.
again, suggest colors for next
What are the
week.
books on your bookshelf, Chalamet?
One
Childamet?
suggested was
Timothy
purple
Chalamet.
jet black, I mean. and
You're so
purple.
funny. You're
And
giggling
I'm
to
pretty sure I'm going to do
yourself.
that next week. Again, subscribe if you want, comment below.
Subscribe
suggest
if you want,
colors.
comment below.
And
I will tell Chalamet. Oh, he just
Wait. The way he ends this art piece is in the middle of the controller. There's like I've never played on an Xbox, but I'm assuming it's the power button and it's an X and a button. And when he hits it, it lights up green. He's like, okay, talk to you next time. Hits that button, green lights, ends, cuts. And I'm like, just emotionally, like, still like, oh my gosh, like, that was so, and like,
The
I've
thing
learned.
is the controller's pretty well done,
It's,
too.
like,
That's
pretty
the annoying
good.
part.
And the
Like,
fact
he
that
did a really good job.
not only like did he do it and it was good, he turned it into a business. If anyone was like not sure, I'm like, he's a 15-year-old wearing an Argyle sweater. That is Timothee Chalamet. Like, there's no wow, that like brought joy back to my heart.
Yeah, you were having the best time.
I was like,
cried.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna cut it out, but I
crying.
think I'm gonna leave in a minute of unedited Elaine giggling at the top
cried.
of her lungs at Timothy Chalamet.
There were tears in my eyes. I don't know if you saw that. I actually almost
I
started
could
crying.
see.
I might cry again. It's just so wide. And then I also, it's like, we have to report on it because this somehow affects the Wonka prequel. Because we're trying to puzzle it. Can we get their team to help investigate why there's a Wonka prequel? Like, can we like slide into those Vice
Can they do our
at
job for us?
AOL.com? Hey, subject line. Yo, help us.
Hey Vice, can you stop us from doing what we're
Hey,
doing?
Vice, you want to hear what our Vice is? Daddy
Wonka. God.
Timmy Wonka. Timmy Wonkathy.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm good. I'm good now.
No, you're good. Okay, so now that we've gotten that little
Wow.
fun diversion out of the way, we're gonna. This episode's just gonna be us giggling for 30 minutes straight. It just looks sad.
It's just, we've gone through a lot, I feel like.
We've had a long week, guys.
A lot has changed for us.
It's been a lot.
For the good, but it's like, I think I like don't let myself cry, so maybe that was all my bottled up emotion. I'm kidding. I cry at fucking everything. I don't know why I even pretend. I cry at everything now. Okay.
We're gonna have to keep a how many episodes since Elaine cried on the podcast. Put that right down to 0.
Back to 0. Okay. Now that I have a good ab workout, please continue, Felicia, on Wonka Watch.
So now we're on our actual big news. But I was scrolling around on Wonka Watch to see if there was an official movie account yet. There was no official movie account. However, I did find the account at the Wonka movie, which compiles set pictures taken by fans.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
The first image is we have some confirmed boat action.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, and it's like snowy too.
Exactly. So that's a big thing is in the later photos that I have on here, they were seen laying down snow.
And Felicia's notes, she just goes, boat action is confirmed. So, what's happening with the boats? Are we going to have boats? We got boats!
I wrote these descriptions at like 12 o'clock at night. So just kind of know that. Mm-hmm. All right. So he's filming on the Lydia Eva boat.
And it's like, this is like a steel boat. It doesn't look like it's wood. So just to kind of, as we continue to figure out when the fuck is this, film.
It looks like around a mid-size boat.
Yeah. My grandpa knows about boats. I'll ask him if he knows about this boat.
All right, so we scroll down. There's a lot of fake snow. I don't know if it's actually Christmas, but it is odd because the movie's coming out in like May.
Yeah.
Like if I were just seeing these screenshots, it's very winter based. So they've been laying down fake snow at the colonnades and in parade gardens. They've been primarily filming in the UK, even though everything is in French.
Mm-hmm. And to describe this to you, it's your classic like British building that's old with columns and like browning kind of stone. Like we love that on podcast. Mm-hmm. Like Mr. Darcy kind of house vibes stuff. So it looks, I agree with what you're saying. And I don't know. A Wonka Christmas?
I'd be down.
If they snuck, I mean, all you have to do to become a holiday movie is sneak in one little scene and then suddenly you're played every year. So I could totally see them,
Yeah. All right. So scrolling down, we have a confirmed French car, confusing even more the timeline.
And there's
a shrimp on the side of it.
Say, like, I mean, it looks like we're clearly in a coastal town. I mean, if we have boats and stuff, so interesting. That also helps us kind of figure out what the birth area of Wonka is like. What if they don't have candy in this town and only fish, only salmon?
All right, and then if we scroll down one more, one of our predictions is looking pretty sweet. That's a photo of Tom Allen in costume, who we predicted to be like a gruff worker who doesn't seem to like Wonka, but then does like Wonka. And ladies and gentlemen, this photo, it's looking good for us.
That looks real good. Oh my goodness.
He's in a kind of long leather coat. He's wearing a little brown shirt that's a little oversized and some like grayish pants. And he's wearing one of those hats that's got like the little flat brim. I don't know what they're called, but you know the hats. Is that newsboy hats?
Yeah. Sporting a good mustache on that upper lip.
He looks like the type we were thinking.
Yes.
Here's the big kicker. Elaine, I want you to look at this photo and try to investigate, what do you see in this photo?
Let me enlarge. Okay, I see paddle boats.
Yes.
And I definitely see the figure. What the fuck? Okay, the figure on the right looks like it could be Wonka. I'm seeing like a top hat, kind of the coat, whatever. But the figure on the left looks like it has green hair and high-waisted pants, like Oompa-Loompa-esque. Am I wrong?
Elaine, I would like you to scroll down. I've enhanced the image in Photoshop.
That is an Oompa-Loompa! It is an Oompa-Loompa! Oh, no.
There are Oompa-Loompas confirmed in Wonka 2023. No! But there is an Oompa-Loompa. So how do I describe this photo? It is a very grainy photo, but I did go into Photoshop and enhance
this. This is insane. What the fuck?
It's happening. Willy Wonka and an Oompa Loompa are on paddleboards on the middle of a British river.
And I don't see any snow, so this is also possibly like where the Oompa Loompas are.
But yeah, I don't know what is up with the paddleboards.
Well, and that's just like, I mean, and it looks like they have, I mean, I don't know, maybe they're stationary or something, but like they're pretty hefty paddle boards. But I feel like that's a lot to be like, okay, don't fall. Haha. I don't see any oars in their hands, so I imagine there's some.
The Oompa Loompa's hand position kind of looks like an oar.
He's holding something. I'm trying to figure out. Timothee Chalamet looks like his arms are up, like he's like got binoculars kind of vibe going or something. Like,
oh yeah,
you see that? Like,
does it kind of put people? We're analyzing about 10 pixels right now.
Yes, it's very rough right now.
I'll post this photo on our Instagram because it's a big deal. But yeah, we have confirmed Oompa Loompas. And I think the most fascinating thing about this is they're the same design as the Oompa Loompas in the 1971 movie.
Yeah. Now I'm curious if we have orange skin, because I feel like that's, I can't super tell, but like we definitely have everything else going on.
I really hope they don't keep the white eyebrows because I hated that.
Yeah. Also, this might be a pixelated, whatever, but it looks like we have a Wonka coat color change. We're now purple instead of that like maroon color. Like,
you're right.
We have like a color journey here with the coat. It is not indeed just a simple, this is the color we wanted. He will end up with the purple coat, it looks like, from this picture. So that's
he's morphing into Gene Wilder. That's what's happening.
Yes.
I think this is confirming that it's really meant to be a prequel to the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
They're not giving anything for anybody else. They're just like, we're just taking all the Gene Wilder stuff, which it's fair. It's the more beloved version of the movie, understandably. Yeah. Which brings us to the topic of the episode, the 1971 movie. So I watched this movie. I was at my friend's for Halloween and we were giving out candy and stuff. And we wanted to watch a movie and they happened to have the 1971 Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory on DVD. So we had a fun little movie night as I was rapidly taking notes on my phone, which the app began to lag because of the speed at which I was taking notes.
Okay, so in the Halloween-esque vibe, you watch this movie in a basement. I think it's the perfect way to experience it for the first time. I don't remember when I first saw this, but I'm going to guess it was on ABC Family, which is how I saw many movies. And which means that as an adult, when I've watched them not on ABC Family, I go, oh, wow, this is a totally different movie than the family-friendly version they cut. Like when I saw Grease not on ABC Family, I was like, wow, there's like a whole other side to the plot. I didn't even know. But I'm pretty sure that's probably what happened. Yeah. I don't think I knowingly have ever intentionally been like, I'm going to watch Willy Wonka tonight. I think it just came on. So that's sort of been my experience with the 1971 version. Yeah. It is my preferred version of the films. And so watching it as an adult was a wild time, Felicia. A wild time. And so the way I got to watch this was because you graciously gave me your HBO Max login. I have to say that, you know how streaming services have like 3 sentences to summarize a plot? And I don't know about you, but I find that they fail. They are really bad at trying to summarize movies. And like there'll be movies I've watched, I'm like, what the hell was this? It was like, girl loves cheese, goodbye. And it's like, and I don't know what movie that would be. But anyway, I thought it would be very helpful to read the HBO Max description summary of this movie. So Charlie Bucket, a boy with no money and a good heart, dreams of being able to buy the candy that other children enjoy. Charlie enters into a world when he wins one of 5 golden tickets to visit the chocolate factory owned by Willy Wonka. He enters into a world. He enters into a world when he wins one of 5 golden tickets. What world?
What world are we talking about?
What world are we talking
Is
about?
Wonka in another universe? What's going on?
See, I was like, is this an Easter egg? Like, what's being put? Does somebody know something, but they can't say it? So like, this is just a little thing. But yet again, a beautifully dumb description of the movie.
Yeah, it's really something else. I will say I did really enjoy the DVD I watched it on. Had one of those like terrible DVD screens where like the elevator came up and the doors parted and there was the play button. I'm like, God, I missed that. I missed that so much.
Gosh, DVD play menus. Gosh.
And then there was like Gene Wilder just standing there. You're like, hi.
Hey, Gene.
All right, so we're going to kind of go through the plot of this movie as we comment on it, because otherwise this is going to be a shit show. So this episode, we're kind of covering up until they get into the factory, because there's a lot that happens in that first, like, Actually, it's like half the movie.
Yeah, it was way more than I recalled.
Charlie Bucket, a poor paper boy on his way home from school, watches children visit a candy shop, which is the Candyman can sequence. That's half the first sentence, and there's so much to talk about even in there. So I've never seen this movie before, but because I exist in this world, I am aware of what it is. You know what I mean? And like, I know the aesthetics, I've seen the characters. It's kind of hard not to if you live in the United States. Weirdly, you're weirdly aware of this movie, you know? So nothing was super surprising for me. But I was shocked that that's where the Candyman song came from, because I'm sure I've heard it somewhere before. Also, unrelated, in the opening credits to this movie, they were like making chocolate.
It's funny. Yeah. So the opening credits are just like all the ingredients falling and the chocolate being made, but in like a really, like, honestly, I was like, why are they making this so sexy right now? Like, this is like really sexy candy making. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, it was slow very and sensual chocolate drizzling.
Very performative. Perfect. Very perfume commercial.
Yes. Yeah. Like, they really brought you in, which I think is there's like layers of unsettling.
Did you see the Adam Driver? Why can't talk? Did you see the Adam Driver centaur horse commercial?
No, I did not.
But
what an image.
So there's a horse, and he's running
shirtless. Okay, trying to beat the horse. He's going. Interesting song choice. Oh, now he's about to ride the horse underwater. We're having a lot of we're like fading from him to the horse and back, like overlaying.
It's just there for a second. It's there for one fucking second to make you question yourself. He's a fucking that was so unnecessary. He was there for like 1 second.
And he looks all faded out because it's only the light behind him.
Wait, what if he was like, okay guys,
and the whole thing
Xbox
edited like
controller I'd like to sell you from Burberry.
Hey guys, would anyone like to try some Hero from Burberry?
It's really hoof friendly on this one.
It goes great on the mane. But like
that was totally worth it getting it to that point, because I understand. Yeah. No, they did. Yeah, which is a commentary kind of on the way that America does our commercials about food versus everyone else.
I thought you were going to say how French America romanticizes horses, but you know.
Wait, what? I'm sorry, I'm back on the candy top.
Okay, that's fair.
But like, we try to make food really sexual, and then you go watch like a French commercial, and they're like, "This food will keep you hungry and fed and stuff," and it's just like really funny. So, the male gaze on food.
The sex appeal of a McRib.
Yeah.
Okay,
we've made it through the opening credits. But the Candyman, yeah, I had no idea that was from this movie. They must have used that in an ad or something, because I did this. I like slammed back and put my hand on the couch, and I was like, oh, my God.
But the other thing was someone referred to somebody else as a Wonkerer.
Yes.
And I was like, now me saying Wonka with other words isn't that bad anymore, because I think Wonkerer is the worst you could do.
Felicia, in my very notes for the next episode where we talk about the second part, I have literally written Felicia is not the worst, because Wonka is just creating Wonka words.
Yes.
I wanted to note that in the background of this, you can see that Slugworth, who is kind of the villain in here, we'll probably get to that later, but he has candy on there. He has candy on the shelves, and they're called Slugworth Sizzlers, and they're the same color branding as Wonka. I'm like, bro, like, guess soon. I don't know.
I do now realize that I was referring to Slugworth as Slughorn for our first 2 episodes. Because again, I've never seen this movie. And I read the word slug and I was like, what's the other character with a 2-syllable name that starts with slug? So that's kind of what I went with. What would be interesting is if Slugworth was actually a complete ruse, and Slugworth is just another subset of the Wonka brand. Like, if you turn it on the back, it's like copyright Wonka Industries. Because he'd pull that shit. He'd totally do it.
Because you have the company, and then you can have your different brands within a company, and that's how you can avoid legal issues. Yeah. The Candyman
definitely has a deal with Willy Wonka, because he just sang like a 3-minute song all about how good this man's chocolate is.
And y'all, like, there are children running from school. I swear to God, they have a tab open for candy because they're just ripping it off the shelves. And they're like, give us the sugar. Ah! Like, they're addicted. It is scary. Like,
this
like
society this movie paints is genuinely horrifying.
It's all around Wonka. Like,
yeah.
He runs the world.
Oh yeah, there was also something I saw in the back that was called Fickle Grubber's Fudge.
Hey everybody, I'm over here. My name's Harry, and this is my Fickle Fudge. It's made with my little frog hands. I go, and then I wrap it up, and here it is. It's all again.
So Wonka Prequel, please cast Elaine as Fickle Grubber of Fickle Brothers.
I'm Mr. Fickle Brother. He can have a song as well. Harry Fickle Bugger the Frog, ribbit.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Okay, yeah. So anyway,
he goes after. So Charlie Bucket isn't even in this scene. This is just a bunch of random children storming the candy shop, and he's like in the window with like his hand pressed up to it, like staring really hard, and it's like, I wish that were me,
because he's poor.
So he walks past the Willy Wonka chocolate factory, where a mysterious. The Wikipedia article says he's a tinker. Apparently, he recites the first lines of William Allingham's poem, The Fairies. Good to know. Thanks, Wikipedia. And tells Charlie nobody ever goes in, nobody ever comes out. And I want the origin story of this guy, because who the fuck was that?
I want a spinoff of the Tinkerman, because y'all, it's like Dick Van Dyke's character in Mary Poppins, but literally with a cart of butcher knives. This man with butcher knives approaches Charlie and goes, "Oh, nobody ever
Dick
goes."
Van Dyke's character was only in that first 2 minutes, where he just gives
never
a little
seen
monologue
again.
and then leaves. Like, that is it.
There's no build up to it, and like, again, we're not even from whatever the era is supposed to be. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, why is this man approaching a child outside of a factory with knives?
It's so weird.
And saying ominous things. He's just a kid. He might be staring at the building for no reason. You're like,
and this man is giving veiled death threats.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck?
Charlie rushes home to his widowed mother and bedridden grandparents. Okay, we got to talk about the bedridden grandparents.
Oh my God.
So this is Grandpa Joe and Grandpa Joanna, and then I think Grandma Henry and Grandpa Henry and Grandma Henrietta, which I think is fascinating because all of the couples in this movie have names that are variations of each other. It was also the case for the kids' parents. Do people in the Wonkaverse change their first name to also match?
Oh, instead of the last name.
Yeah, because it's real weird and wild. Because if you notice, literally every couple has that. I'm guessing it's a Roald Dahl bit. He tells his bedridden grandparents. He tells Grandpa Joe what the tinker said, and Grandpa Joe reveals that Wonka had locked the factory up several years earlier because other candy makers, including his rival, were sending in spies to steal his recipes. He shut down the factory, but came back selling candy 3 years later. The gates were locked, and the original workers didn't show back up, and everyone was like, who took the jobs? Because Wonka was key to the economy of this small town, it's implied.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this actually makes some major complications for the prequel, because how long of a time span is this movie going to be covering? Or are they just retconning this? Because Willy Wonka...
How far up to the 70s movie are we going to go?
Exactly.
Are we going to be like, and now my factory's open? Or are we going to go through the, like,
if we're following 1971 canon, where he has to build up reputation as a chocolate maker to then be spied on, so that it's a big deal when he closes his doors, and then find the Oompa-Loompas, and then he doesn't start making candy again for 3 years.
There's a lot there.
Yeah.
Well, then I think we also brought it up, like, that could be an opening for a sequel.
Yeah.
If they wanted to, you know, kind of be like, and then the next chapter, and then see how big it gets.
That's true. They could do a few movies about Willy Wonka.
Wouldn't it be? But yeah, I don't know. It'd be weird.
Yeah.
I think an important part around this time of the plot we're talking about, Grandpa Joe talking about this, is that Charlie was willing to pay for Grandpa Joe's tobacco, which Grandpa Joe has a tobacco problem, and this family is poor, eating cabbage soup, water.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I need my tobacco. I'm like, can you
none of
chill
the
it,
other
Grandpa?
grandparents speak the entire movie.
No.
They're not allowed to talk. That's
he's
what
like, Grandpa
feels
Joe,
like.
He's sitting in that bed sucking the life force out of them so that he can, like, you know.
That's really what it feels like. He's a menace to this. So, oh God, that was the thing I was going to say. So basically, I was prepping for this episode last night, and well, actually this morning, I was double prepping for this episode, and I realized I, once again, had a dream about Willy Wonka. But this time it was about the 1971 movie. So in this dream, I was rewatching the movie, and basically my brain added a whole new song.
Oh my
whole
God.
new song. So right at the beginning of the movie, after the credits, there was a song with Gene Wilder just dancing around the factory, and it was an absolute banger. I can recall none of the words, but I remember it was good. And it was like 4 minutes of him just dancing around the factory like a Disney princess. And I was like formulating what I was going to say on the podcast about it. And I was like making a whole song ranking. And I was like, damn, this song slaps. Why didn't they include it in the version I watched with Ray? And then I woke up, and as I was writing my notes, I realized that didn't happen. That's not real.
Oh my.
And I was about to like write about this weird scene I found. And I was like, that was a dream.
I'm going to propose a new segment.
Yeah.
And it's called Felicia's Dream Sequence. And we'll discuss the Wonka related dreams you've had.
Because I do have
Timothee
multiple
Chalamet
a week.
haunts you. And then now, as we gather more intel, the more it slips into your unconscious mind. So I think it'd be healthy, because you don't want to tell your therapist that. Tell us that and like hold it on for them. So
that's good. So you'll be hearing more of my Wonka related dreams in the future. Okay, so
what a great selling point for this podcast.
we always watch. We love hearing Felicia's Wonka related dreams. You know what you wanted to hear about. The worst thing is my dreams are pretty normal. Like they're very, like one of my big dreams in the last few days was I accidentally spilled coffee on an outlet, and I was like, oh my God. And then I woke up and was like, thank God I don't have to deal with that. That was it. That was the whole dream, was that I spilled coffee on a Bauer strip. And I was like, what do I do? Then we get the big announcement that Willy Wonka has hidden 5 golden tickets in chocolate Wonka bars. And they will get, the people who get the ticket, they get a lifetime supply of chocolate and a tour of the factory, which is an okay prize.
Yeah, that seems pretty, pretty chill.
It's cool, but the way people reacted to this really brings into question, one, is he putting cocaine in this chocolate? Because like people are
pre-FTC, I'm saying,
That's true.
The great thing about this movie is that we'll have these little like vignette moments that are not related to any of the characters, and they just kind of like build the world and the like chaos.
Also, the thing is people were going insane for this lifetime supply of chocolate, including the president of the United States, who I feel like doesn't need it. In this world, it almost seems as if Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the bottom is just Wonka bar. Like, that's really what it seems like. So I went back through this scene and I made a list of the consequences of Willy Wonka doing this whole ticket shenanigan. So here are the things that happened as a result. Children are dismissed from class. They lost education because everybody went so wild. They were like, class is over because this man did a giveaway. He's basically doing a raffle, and people. But
it's not like people are still having to buy the whole chocolate bar. So he's like, ridiculous.
The president took time away from important legislative duties to order Willy Wonka bars,
and that's how we lost the Cold War.
A man is in therapy, who I felt very seen by. This man in therapy, I was like, oh my God, this is me.
The second he was like, I had a dream, and I was like, Felicia. This is Felicia with her Willy Wonka dream.
So for people who haven't seen the movie, there is a man lying on a chaise lounge with his therapist, and he's like, I just can't stop thinking about Wonka. And he hallucinates archangels whispering delicate golden ticket clues into his ears. And that's Willy Wonka's fault. People are being overworked and exploited en masse to discover golden tickets for a rich man.
Yes.
A man invented a machine to find the golden tickets, which then mocked him and potentially ruined his career.
Hilarious.
Best scene in the movie. Very sad. But
telling of AI in the future.
I mean, he's the best part of that movie, that one guy. I looked it up. He's uncredited. I'm like, how dare you not credit computer science, man? He's the best part of this movie.
Basically, the computer starts, he's like, where are the golden tickets? And the computer's like, I don't care. And he's like, I mean, you could share the winnings. He's like, I'm a computer. I don't need a lifetime supply of chocolate.
A small child, Charlie Bucket, has an existential crisis about his potential and place in the world. Children are ridiculed for their lack of access to Wonka bars by school teachers, no less.
Oh my God, this whole scene. So it's the teacher and he's teaching them math, and he decides, let me talk about percentages through how many Wonka bars you bought. And honestly, the whole premise was like incorrect from the get-go. But he's trying to do like, okay, so, you know, Sally bought 100 chocolate bars, so that'd be 150% or something. And then he's like, Charlie, how many chocolate bars did you buy? And he goes, about 2. And he's like, I don't know how to fucking make a percentage out of 2. You only bought 2, you poor little fuck.
Like, it's insane.
I was like, you can't figure out the percentage for 2 chocolate bars out of 100? I hate to break it to you, but it's going to be 2%.
Another thing that happened is a man is potentially being held hostage and potentially killed over a case of Wonka bars, which was insane. There was a woman who was like, I just want to see Harold. And she's like, I'll do anything to get him back. And the police are like, they want your last case of Wonka bars. And she just raises her hand to her mouth and looks off into the distance. And they go like, Mrs. Harris? She's just looking. We never know what happened to Harold.
And she goes, let me think about it. We're like, what?
If nothing else, a marriage was ruined. Because could you imagine? A man is able to walk again. That is one good consequence.
Yes.
And the mother sings the most boring song in the movie as a consequence of these Wonka bars being handed out.
And you know, and it's like, the whole thing is like, me and Grandpa Joe will make you happy. I'm like, do we just really not fucking care about the other grandparents? Like, just throw them off to the gutter to be picked up in the cart for the dead. Like, I don't know why you're like such assholes about this. Like, Grandpa Joe does nothing. He actively sucks the money. Oh my God.
It's almost like the grandparents are a collective that speaks through the voice of Grandpa Joe.
The hive mind.
The hive mind. The grand hive mind.
Yeah, me and Grandpa Joe can make your troubles go away. No, you can't. Get a better job, network. Get your ass off the couch. Jesus. Like, no, he's out here being a little newsy. You know, he's about to go and have to sing his heart out to fight for the New York Newsies. Because where is this?
She's like, me and Grandpa Joe can make you happy. Well, thanks for buying Grandpa Joe tobacco again. Yeah. And really holding up the family for us.
Really
like, Charlie is providing for this family.
God almighty.
I will say, they did say Wonkamania on the news broadcast. and I was like, oh, yeah.
Wonkamania. Which is the other thing. The newscasts are tracking the golden tickets the way that people get obsessed tracking hurricanes. Like it's like, oh, where's it gonna hit? It's like nothing's really happening, but they have like a little map with push pins. They're like, the first ticket has been found, and it's like, where's the other one? And then it's like the same energy with the same level of fear behind it.
The first ticket is found by August Skloop, a little boy in West Germany who eats a lot of food. He finds it and he's eating food on the news broadcast. But then who is sneaking in but none other than Mr. Slugworth, who we later find out in the movie is not who we think he is. But I was like, oh my God, this evil villain really just doing this out in the open. Because if you're watching this, I knew that guy was Slugworth, as I saw on some internet website. So I was like reading into this. And I was like, I had so many opinions. I was like, how? One, someone arrests Slugworth. He should not be around children. He was getting way too close to their face and it freaked me out. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I also thought it was insane that Slugworth personally was doing it. He's probably very rich, and it's like the equivalent of Steve Jobs trying to sneak into Microsoft. It was just like really wild. Well, just like
my question is, these chocolate bars go out to the entire world. How is he able to so quickly find the kid and be there? Like,
and he was also on the journalistic team. Like he's fully on camera for every single amount of his spying. There's a easy trail to figure it out. Long story short, spoilers for the end of the movie.
Spoilers.
Slugworth was hired. Well, this isn't Slugworth. It's Mr. Collins, who was hired by Willy Wonka.
Collins. These are lovely boiled potatoes.
Yeah.
That's a Pride and Prejudice 2007 reference. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. You made it.
But it was Mr. Collins who Willy Wonka hired to test the children's trust.
Children's trust.
Test the children's trust. I did vocal warm-ups. That's the worst part. I actually tried this time.
I appreciate the effort.
But yeah, so he was hired by Willy Wonka, so this isn't actually Slugworth, but when I was watching this, I was like, why is this man leaving this whole trail? The police will figure you out. And I was like, it's the police. But also, I guess Wonka must have known what shipment the candy bars were going out in.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean,
he can
and
be
also,
in the general area.
I have a feeling, because we're going to talk about this later in you know, this podcast, but the technology of Wonka is pretty advanced and like wild. So I'm wondering if there was some sort of tracking device within these tickets as well on top of that. So yeah, knowing the
You're probably
shipment,
right.
but also like exactly pinpointing, and also like they all go to kids.
Yeah, the one thing that was really entertaining for me was the fact that Slugworth was always working for the news company. Like, did he have to get a journalistic degree to do this advanced high-level spying?
For 3 years, building up to the reopening. Slugworth.
That's where he was.
Slugworth got his MA in journalism.
The prequel to Willy Wonka, there's Slugworth who's just getting his it's Mr. Collins just getting his master's in journalism.
That was actually a whole movie that they decided, we can cut it out, even though he had some pretty good song numbers in there.
The next ticket is found by Veruca Salt, whose father is very rich in the English nut business. The girl who played Veruca, I think, was my favorite out of the kids. She was really giving it her all. She was fun. And then we got Violet Beauregard, who just chews a bunch of gum, who I thought was kind of great. I kind of loved her. She was really the girl boss of this movie.
There's like this girl named Cornelia who like crossed her. So not only does Violet smack gum, she smack talks. And she just is like,
"Hi, Cornelia. Look who's gone to the little chocolate factory on TV."
She was great. I loved her.
She was fun.
And then lastly, the last one was found by Mike TV from Arizona and the United States. Who Mike TV is wild.
He is the most complex to me. Like, I feel like that family dynamic and like what he could grow up to be is the most horrifying and confused. Like, I'd love to peel back those layers because he watches TV all the time and yet has a gun and tries to shoot everybody at any given point.
I forgot another thing that's important to mention. The Queen of the United Kingdom was ordering Wonka bars as well.
There was an auction scene and there was like, this is the last box in all of the UK, and people like raising their panels and they go, okay, the Queen has posted her bid, and then it just cuts the scene.
No, he just goes, "Your Majesty." Like he's about to cry. It's insane. Majesty. I also I haven't reviewed or cleaned up my notes since I watched this movie, so I'm a little bit all over the place. But I do have just a note that just says, "How good is this fucking chocolate?"
Because I mean, like, it has to be. I mean, half the people are just throwing it on the ground to get the tickets. I'm like, the whole point is you win a lifetime supply of chocolate. This is such a waste. Like, how many animals were affected by this that started eating the street chocolate?
The street chocolate or eating these wrappers, the pollution caused by this.
The sea turtles, how are they doing in this Wonkaverse?
I wonder if Wonka definitely, some of his stuff definitely has long-term genetic impacts on society. Like, there was probably one Wonka product that had to mutate some sort of DNA, because there's no way with the shit he was making that he didn't run into that at some point.
Oh, for sure.
Very human centipede Wonka.
Oh God, no.
Okay.
No.
One thing I wanted to mention is, so the grandparents were like, we're going to pitch in together and buy Charlie a fudge mallow to help him find the golden ticket, which was problematic because there are not golden tickets in the fudge mallow.
Very much so not in it.
And then Charlie, like a little demon, goes and grabs it, and he opens it, and he's like, "Oh my God, there's nothing."
Like, they all turn around, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Charlie got it." He's like, "No. See, look at your faces." And I was like, oh my fucking God.
Getting all excited for nothing.
Charlie, you little asshat. Go back to your news route. Jesus.
It was the worst.
Because I was like, oh, Charlie, I'm into this. And then he did that. I'm like, what is it? They have to shit in the bed, and you're going to do that to them? Like, Grandpa Joe finally took a little bit back on his tobacco, and that's how you're going to repay him, as being a little dick with a marshmallow?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I will be honest. If I was able to try one of these bars, I would want to try the fudge mallow thing, because it looked pretty good.
It looks pretty nice.
But uncalled for, Charlie. Uncalled for.
Also on his birthday, like, they're doing something nice for you, little asshole.
He gets another Wonka bar. I don't remember how. No ticket. Him and Grandpa Joe open up together. It's dramatic. We haven't talked about the song "Cheer Up Charlie," sung by the mom, enough, because the way that they filmed Charlie Bucket in these scenes, basically it's the mom singing this song about being happy that he's himself, is basically what the song is. It's just "Be grateful you exist," the song, essentially. And this is done while Charlie Bucket is walking very dramatically through the streets of wherever they live. And it is filmed like he's being chased in a horror movie. Like, if you put some dramatic strings over that, that boy is dying. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he also has the look on his face like he shit his pants and he thinks everyone knows, even though no one can really tell. Like, his eyes are so wide the whole time.
No wonder the kids at the school used to play kick the bucket.
Oh my God.
Go kick him. That's a little Elaine canon she added.
Okay. The actual golden ticket. Let's talk about the actual golden ticket reveal.
So before that, we have this, we think all the tickets have been found because this adult's like, hey, yo, I got the ticket. And then it's found out it's a counterfeit, which I got goosebumps, even though I already knew it was going to happen. And then we lead up to, he finds like a quarter in the sewer.
Yeah.
And he grabs that little quarter. He goes up to the candy man. Everyone has stopped buying the Wonka bars because, you know, they think all of them have been like set out. So he's like, hey, Mr. Candyman, can I get one of those chocolates and stuff? So he gets the candy bar and he's outside and he suddenly hears the news. It was a counterfeit. It was a counterfeit. There's still another golden ticket. And he's like, what? And so the dramatic peeling back of this candy bar is so intense. The anticipation makes your heart rate go up. It makes you wonder, am I actually anxious right now or am I just enjoying this movie? I can't really tell. And then you're like, man, okay, I'll do a breathing exercise. But then you peel it back and you see that golden ticket and it's so happy. Like, you can't help but be filled with joy.
Yeah, and then he nearly gets trampled by a crowd of adults.
Is mobbed. And like his boss, the newspaper boy, he's like, run, Charlie. And it's like, run for your life.
Yeah, I really thought one of these adults was going to try and steal it out of his hand. Like, that's really what it felt like.
Which they were kind of getting to that point. But
yeah, it was getting concerning. I was like, is this child going to die? So then he gets home and Grandpa Joe's like, Charlie, what do you mean? And he rises out of bed for the first time in 20 years and does a little dance around the house. Grandpa Joe really said Wonka cured my depression, cleared my skin, and made me walk again. This man is living for Wonka. And I also said Grandpa Joe's really making this all about him. Because it really, like, he was making it his thing.
It's not like Charlie instantly is like, oh, come with me, which he probably would have asked. It was like Grandpa Joe assumed that he was going to be the one going with him.
And it was very much like Toddlers and Tiaras where like the kid's doing it, but you can tell it's really the mom's thing.
Yeah.
That's what this felt like. It's like, oh, this is your thing. And then I just wrote this movie as a horror about class disparity.
Yeah.
Because they also were like, this is the only hope Charlie has. This is the only hope of a better life we have. And I'm like,
I mean, like, you know, he's in school. He's not good at math, but who is?
Okay, so on the way home, he runs into the creepy man again, who's like, Charlie Bucket, I'm Slugworth. I own the Slugworth Candy Company. And I would like you to steal an everlasting gobstopper from Willy Wonka.
Also, yeah, he does this in a dark alley.
And I'll give you $5,000.
Money. I don't know.
Yeah, we're like at the factory. The beginning of this movie is wild.
It really helps build. You don't realize how much of the factory is like just a part of this entire outer world that is so affected. And then you're really getting to understand, wow, this is a huge secret. Like, what is going beyond? Because this entire country world is just chaotically focused on it too. And you really get to see how, like we've mentioned before, it's affected the economy, society,
the psychological impacts this has had on people.
Exactly.
The long-lasting impacts that Wonka's going to have.
The importance of being able to buy candy when you're in poverty. It's really, I think, the big message they're sending home there.
Maybe like this town is in a food desert and the only food supply store is the candy shop.
Oh, maybe.
That's really what it feels like.
They just only run on candy.
Okay, so we're at the factory gates and we get our first Wonka appearance. The classic moment where he comes out with the cane and then he does the little roll. I knew about this because people told me about it. They were like, I love that part where he walks with the cane and does the little roll, because I guess it's pretty iconic. And I know the backstory behind it is Gene Wilder said he didn't want you to ever be able to trust Willy Wonka, which I think is a very fun take on the character.
Yeah. No, I think that is the best scene. And he does it so well. And it originally wasn't planned. Like the film people didn't know he was doing that. They're like, the fuck? And then he like just was like, somersault, haha. they're like, oh my God. And it was just, Gene Wilder was so perfect for this role.
Imagine there's a scene in the prequel where Timothée Chalamet is just practicing somersaults around his room.
they're like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know, but I feel like at some point I'm going to need to know how to do this.
And like his mom's down in the kitchen and some neighborhood man comes in and he's like, what's going on up there in old Willy's room? And she's like doing his rolls again. And you just hear him go, "Hua, hua."
Before I think for the next episode, we should start again with the Gene Wilder role and how that rolls into the factory scenes. I had some overall thoughts written about this first part.
Yes, talk about them.
So there's a lot more that happens before the factory than I recall. I believe that we discussed that. Charlie's family is full of idiots.
Yeah.
Like, I think the mom has good intentions. Everyone else is just like stupid and we're all getting manipulated. Okay. The Tinker Man deserves his own spinoff.
Agreed.
I feel like I don't know. He just needs his own thing. And the music in the beginning is so-so. Kind of like we mentioned. I mean, Golden Ticket's like your big one. Like, I remember from like the intro and I guess the Candyman. But, at this point, it's weird to say, but like I kind of forget that this is a musical because it just kind of
I think everyone forgets it's a musical.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm going to leave off, leaning into the next part of this.
All right. Do you have any predictions, Elaine? I have one that is not related to anything I learned in the first portion of this movie because my prediction was going to be that we aren't going to get the Oompa-Loompas because of the timeline, but that has been shattered because of my new knowledge.
Oh, man.
So my prediction is that Willy Wonka, his childhood flaw is that he doesn't know his purpose in the prequel. And he's tried all these different jobs. He's tried all these different careers. And then suddenly somebody's like, remember when you used to make chocolate with your dad when you were a wee lad? And he's like, yes, I do remember that, Mr. God, what's his name? Tom Arnold. It's not who it is. And that's it. Like that's his big struggle is that he's like, I don't know what I'm meant for.
I see that. So my prediction is about the cane. Where does Willy Wonka's cane come from? And so since we have Tom Arnold now, like I'm not sure if I feel like we're going to have like a grandfather figure or like an old codger who like leaves an impression on young Willy Wonka. And he always walked around with a cane, and then something happens, and he goes,
wait, is that the guy who dies, and then the Alfredo Tavare mourner is at his funeral?
Yeah. He's like, walk softly and carry a big stick. And then he dies. And it was Teddy Roosevelt. And then, oh, boy.
Is the quote, walk softly?
Whatever. Chew softly and walk with a big stick. Anyway, no, I think
talk softly.
Sing softly and carry a big stick with you. Anyway, so I think there's gonna be like this older guy who's like a little scary, but Wonka is like, oh, that's how you like show you're real, big boss boy, get a cane.
And they kill the man with it.
Yeah, that's what we want to see.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Wonka Watch.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Wonka Watch, and we have an email. It is wonkarapture@gmail.com. Please send us your concerns. You can send us other things, but mostly we expect to see concerns.
You can also actually review us on Apple Podcasts now because we exist on there.
We're there, cool. Yeah. So we're actually on like majority of your streaming services. So wherever you are, if you just want to like do a little thing, but you don't have to. We're just happy you're here.
Yeah.
And thank God, man, if you made it to the end of this.
You are
Psychology Today has a really good therapist, how to find people in your network site on there. Anyway, with that,
remember, it's not that important.